play Paladin or just Silver or straight Rootgeist Ranker kind of shenanigans, as opposed to comboing off of Village Bellringers. But also among 18 pointers, names you might know: Matthew Costa, obviously very
might know
famous.
him.
Possibly know him. We saw Tyler Nightingale beating Reed Duke earlier on camera. He is at 18 points. Kurt Crane, as we're watching on camera. Reed Duke is also still on 18 points. Dave Shields, another name that you're probably familiar with. John Ozagar, I believe, was on camera earlier as well. So we've got quite a couple names that are still in contention. We've got about 22 players that are still able to make top 8. And 2 of those players are on camera right now. We've got Brian Daviduk on the left and Kurt Crane on the right.
Now, what do you make of this this black, white, green mid-rangey deck, like this junk deck? It's interesting that he only has 1 birthing pod, because with all these Viridian emissaries and comes into play creatures and a curve that goes all the way up the chain, you'd think he has more birthing pods.
I would think, we saw him play a birthing pod, I believe, was it last round? It might have been last round. We saw him play a birthing pod, and in game 1, just casually on turn 3 or 4. And his opponent was Max Brown, who ended up winning that match. And he probably just assumed that it was a junk pod deck, even though there was only 1 birthing pod in the entire deck. I definitely agree with you, especially chaining Blade Splicers into Skin Renders into an Acidic Slime. Looks like there should be more birthing pods in the deck.
Now, what do you make of Safe Passage? This is the second list I've seen today that has Safe Passage. Who's that against?
That's against Bonfire of the Damned. That's pretty much just against Bonfire of the Damned.
Clever.
Yeah, that's the only reason for it that I can think of.
That's super powerful. That can be just game winning.
Yes.
All right, so Kurt Crane leads off with Forest Llanowar Elf, fairly standard.
Looks like he mulliganed to like 3 here.
I'd say my intuition is that this matchup's got to be decent for the Elf Wave deck, but a mull to 3 is...
Well, if you look at the total number of cards he's got there, he's drawn 1, so he mulled to 4.
Wow.
So that's a little rough, although he's got access to Green Sun Zenith here if he wants it.
Because, I mean, Daviduk isn't particularly fast. I mean, he's not the slowest deck by any means, but he's not super fast, and his only removal is 1 Go for the Throat, 1 Doom Blade, 2 Mortar Pods, and then those Skin Renders.
Yeah.
He gets more after boarding with all the Tragic Slips and the Sever the Bloodline.
No,
but
I think that had Kurt not mulligan to 4. See, he was talking to me about this earlier, that you get some very awkward hands, where sometimes you just get like 4 lands and a bunch of 3-drops, and you can't keep those.
But on the mull, you said this is a mull to 4?
This looked like a mull to 4.
On the mull to 4, he's already representing 6 mana after 3 turns.
That's right.
I mean, you can't ask for a much better start out of a 4-card
mull
hand.
to 4, absolutely. No, and it's a combo deck, basically, so he can mull to 4 and still win.
Wow, because at this point, like if he plays a land in a Genesis Wave, or if he even just plays Soul of the Harvest,
yep. Well,
he's actually in good shape.
If he plays an Elf next turn, a Village Bellringer will net him mana.
Wow.
And then from then on out, each Restoration Angel would net him mana, although that's going to slow him down a little bit. Kurt was
not the
Llanowar
Llanowar Elf? That's weird.
Yeah, strange. Oh, there you go. There's another one. Green Sun off the top.
Now, what's kind of wild is how much Brian Daviduk can just recurse these Skin Renders. If he plays a white mana and starts Restoration Angeling, that can just be a nightmare.
Although we haven't seen the white mana yet.
Joshua Walden from command pod number 9. This pod is now waiting for you. Please come to the stage. Joshua Walden from command event number 9.
It is.
Yeah, that would have been a real bad hand against anything that wasn't a mull to 4, I would think.
It wouldn't be that bad against a mull to 3.
That's fair. That's a fair point. So
still no white mana, though.
Still no white. This might be a birthing pod, though. Nope, that's a Phyrexian Metamorph being another Skin Render.
Skin Render just puts in some serious work in this deck. So many ways to abuse it.
Yeah. It's quite powerful. Yeah, it's real unfortunate for Kurt that he could. Well, sometimes you just keep drawing Green Sun Zeniths. And David is cutting the deck. There's no shadiness happening here. Like you can see, Kurt's shuffling quite wildly, and then it just so happened that 3 straight turns he drew a Green Sun Zenith. And he's got 4 in the deck, so. Now, Brian, let's see if Brian can match it up with the 3rd straight Skin Render as well. So Kurt still not being able to, he's drawing those Green Sun Zeniths, so he's not drawing any more lands, obviously. I haven't gotten a good look at either player's hand either. Looks like there's a Village Bellringer and a Genesis Wave for Kurt. So if Kurt can keep this Archdruid in play for a turn, which it doesn't look like is going to happen. Oh, it's a Garruk. It's going to fight.
The Elvish Archdruid.
The Elvish Archdruid, yep. So Garruk Relentless is going to flip into Garruk of the Veil Cursed. And only one of the 3/3s is going to come in, which I don't think I get.
Oh, he doesn't want the Llanowar Elf to just attack the Garruk.
Okay, that's fair. But in the previous turn, he also had the option of attacking with both and didn't have a Planeswalker in play. And same thing happened. He just chose not to attack with the Skin Render that was able to attack.
Oh, he didn't attack with either one?
No. Well, he played the Metamorph, obviously, but he didn't attack with the regular Skin Render, which I found very strange.
Dong!
Village Bellringer, untapping all the creatures. He's going to block one of the Skin Renders to go down to 13 instead. Taking a good read on Village Bellringer. Another one of those Kiki-Jiki creatures. Made an appearance in the Modern Grand Prix in Columbus last weekend as a 1-0 to be able to combo off.
Joshua Walters, the last chance.
There's that white mana.
There it is. A little late, but he's in a good position, so I don't think he's too worried about it.
So Brian did end up attacking with both
this turn.
With both this turn. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, that was clearly representing some sort of creature this turn. I would have been very surprised if he didn't. Here's a Birthing Pod, getting rid of the actual Skin Render to go and get possibly Acidic Slime or Wolf or Silverheart or Geist on
Acidic Slime hitting Razor Verge Thicket, just keep him down on mana.
That's a pretty good one.
Could be Geist Hunter Monk to just finish the job next turn, but with Crane so short on every kind of resource, why not just get rid of his mana?
Very shortly. If you're in the Legacy Challenge, if you're not at your seat, I would advise making
Alright, here's the Geist Hunter Monk.
He is the Geist Hunter Monk to try and keep the pressure on, so he will put 2 1/1s in play.
And then Garruk.
And then probably sacrifice one of the newly minted spirits in order to search his library? Or was he just
He might just get a 1/1. Yeah, I don't know. He might just get a Poisonous Wolf.
I'm not sure how much a Poisonous Wolf does for him, but I guess keeping the Garruk around is I don't know. I just feel like he could just go in for the kill here. Although
this is one of those embarrassment of riches type things.
Yeah. It's a problem you like to have. All these options. There's a Bird of Paradise. Not the most exciting draw in the world. Now, another thing that he can do this turn is get rid of this Skin Render artifact creature and pair up a Wolf or Silverheart with a Flyer. If he so chooses. This is the one of Birthing Pod once again.
Birthing Pod sure seems good in his deck.
Yeah, it really does. I'm a little surprised he doesn't have more.
But then again, these Garruks and Skin Renders are looking pretty good here too.
Yeah. He is indeed going to sacrifice the Phyrexian Metamorph to the Birthing Pod. Searching his library for a 5-drop, his remaining options
Probably the Silverheart?
Probably, I would imagine it's the Silverheart, although he could also get the Acidic Slime, but if he were going to do that plan, he would have done it last turn. So I imagine
maybe he just
Silverheart, yeah, there it is.
I was gonna say, maybe the thinking is you keep him off of double white, but I don't know. Yeah, either way, this game is a done deal, given that we actually know the Elf Wave decks list.
Yes.
Is there any way that he can actually go off next turn? I mean, he's got the wave in his hand.
It's theoretically possible.
What does he do? If he waves for, he plays a land and waves for 4?
Wave for 4, hit a Bellringer and a Restoration Angel, untapping mana and doing it again, I guess. I don't know. I don't think that there's an out. There could be some combination of cards that I'm missing that could allow.
He waits for 4 and gets like a Bellringer and 3 No, I guess. No, he doesn't keep going though. What is it?
He would need the Soul of the Harvest in play or hit an Elvish Visionary.
A Visionary so that he draws Genesis Wave.
Right.
A Bellringer and 2 Restoration Angels, and then at least he waves for 3 again.
which is still not good enough.
He could get enough blockers to live one more turn if he goes runner, runner,
exactly.
runner.
But instead, he drew a Bird of Paradise.
Packs up his cards, and on to the next one.
That sometimes happens when you mulligan a 4. You lose.
Not a bad showing if it wasn't for the getting double skin rendered and Garruk Relentless.
He had 3 Elvish Archdruids in 3 turns, in turns 3, 4, and 5, or 4, 5, and 6. So he was in that game. It just so happened that Brian had so many skin renders of varying types and ways to deal 3 damage or equal -2/-2.
What does Crane get out of the sideboard? We saw the Tragic Slips and Sever from Daviduk.
Now, it's theoretically, he hasn't seen the Grave Titan, so I think it's unlikely the Celestial Purges will come in. It is.
There is the possibility that he wants to go purge your skin render in response to your Restoration Angel or Metamorph.
Sure. So he has seen, that's a good point. So he could bring in these Celestial Purges. In a matchup like this, I imagine the Thrag Tusks are warranted because they don't dodge elimination, but they help against elimination. Also, in doing the deck tech with him earlier, I would imagine the Gavany Township would come in for one of the Arbor Elves because that's a switch he does against the more controlling decks. Because it's a more reliable source of mana.
Yep, I definitely imagine Gavony Township helping, so that each of his threats is more likely to turn into something lethal. I'm not sure if it's right to try to power through the removal with Thragtusk, or if it's better to just be faster. It's a real tough. I mean, he's hopefully got enough experience with Elfwave to have a good strategy here. I wonder if Daviduk is going to bring in Hero of Bladehold.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, Kurt isn't really going to have very much removal, and Hero of Bladehold is a much faster and deadlier threat than a lot of the more expensive cards against somebody who doesn't have removal. I mean,
I would also anticipate these safe passages coming in as just fogs. I mean, assuming, well, maybe not this game. If Kurt Crane goes off in the next game,
and then you're saying Daviduk can just win with his flyers, some number of creatures attack for lethal, he fogs.
When Kurt plays Craterhoof Behemoth and attacks for 200, and then he's just all right, safe passage, be able to attack in the air for some more.
Any way you shape it, though, that was supposed to be the easy game for Crane.
Exactly.
Or not the easy game, but the less hard game.
The less difficult game, and now there's going to be even more black elimination levied at his guys. So,
what's his best Green Sun Zenith target to fight through all this removal?
Well, the problem is that this is not damage-based removal. He's got a lot of, I guess Garrick is damage, but the skin renders in particular are a problem because his main way of fighting against damage-based removal like Bonfire of the Damned and Whip Flare is getting the Izuri Renegade Leader out and regenerating all of his guys with all of his mana. In this game, however, that's not going to help. -1/-1 counters stick around, so even getting +3/+3 till end of turn isn't really going to be a good plan.
Soul of the Harvest is big enough that it lives through most of this, most of the little rinky-dink skin render Garruk action.
Yep, and in an ideal world, Kurt would love to be casting that on turn 3 or...
Yeah, because if he can do it on turn 3 or 4, before Daviduk gets into skin render mode, he's actually, that's a real tough card for Daviduk to deal with.
Yeah, even if he plays the skin render on turn 4 and makes the Soul of the Harvest a 3/3, Kurt still gets to untap and you have a couple turns of Glimpse of Nature, or have a turn of Glimpse of Nature. So.
And heaven forbid he Restoration Angel the Soul of the Harvest to reset it in response to a second skin render.
Right. Yeah, I really like this deck of Kurt's. I really am rooting for him to make top 8 because I think that should this deck make top 8, it's definitely a deck that players will latch onto and embrace and want to play. Finally a deck that I can play that doesn't have Bonfire of the Damned or Delver of Secrets or Snapcaster Mage or even Blood Artist and Gravecrawler. Those have been the decks that have been winning these tournaments recently. Save for
something new.
Yeah, and this is definitely something new. Save for the couple weeks when Esper control mid-range Sun Titan things were really good. This deck has none of those pieces. The most commonly seen piece, of course, is Bird of Paradise, but this has a lot of hits in it that aren't being played really. It's also got Restoration Angel, of course, because that card's just a ubiquitous choice.
So both players content with their 7. Are we just seeing
Kurt.
Turn 1 Llanowar Elf into facing turn 1 Birds, and then turn 2 Elvish Visionary and Birds of Paradise. So a pretty good start from Kurt.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, Daviduk with no sweepers is definitely at risk of falling behind early on. Although Birds of Paradise is obviously the best possible card for him here.
Yes.
Just giving one turn closer to being able to start
with so many 4-drops in his deck.
Yep.
Now the thing here is that Kurt does not need to attack into this Emissary at all. He's not an aggro deck in the traditional sense. We're going to see a turn 3 Thragtusk from Kurt.
You called it.
There it is. Thragtusk in all of its glory. Often one of the more popular choices for best card in M13. And rightly so. It has so many good things going for it. Ryan Daviduk's follow-up play is another Viridian Emissary.
See, already it seems like the Thragtusk has lost a lot of utility. I mean, what's he even going to do with it?
It's just, well, Kurt doesn't have to attack. Kurt can just set up the combo.
So what is the Thragtusk holding back on defense?
Yeah, it doesn't have to do anything. Well, the other thing that's going to happen is that should he attack, both of those emissaries would die, putting David at like 6 or 7 mana. David will get to 6 or... There's a Soul of the Harvest from Kurt. And so Brian's going to get up to that number eventually anyway. He's got enough lands.
So once he actually does get up there, then you're attacking?
Then you're attacking, and then the lands don't matter as much. So you're just building up, building up, building up. There's Soul of the Harvest, being real nice to a couple of birds, sticking out his finger. The mirror image of Harvester of Souls, also in Avacyn Restored.
Was that a Go for the Throat?
Yes, it was. That's
the alternate art promo one or whatever?
Go for the Throat. Went for the Throat of the Soul of the Harvest.
Classic Isolated Chapel in a deck with 1 Plains and 3 Swamps.
Yep.
Blade Splicer, another card that completely shuts down Thragtusk.
That's true.
Because Kurt doesn't really even have very many answers in his deck to that, right?
Nope. Doesn't look like he has any. Oh, no, he has Mortar Pod, but I doubt he brought that in.
That's a tough way to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe the Crater Hoof Behemoth?
Yep. The reason, now, I was talking with him about the Mortar Pod. Sometimes you just have 40 mana and 20 guys, and you don't need to attack. Like, sometimes that happens, apparently. So... I think the thing is that he's not a aggro deck in the traditional sense. He can just sit back, wait for a Genesis Wave. There's an Elvish Archdruid for you, reprinted in M13. Has the Priest of Titania and Elvish Champion abilities. I suppose it's more Imperious Perfect because it doesn't give Forest Walk. But it does tap to add 1 green mana to your mana pool for each elf you control. Huge engine in his deck. If Kurt has any of his X spells in his hand, be they Green Sun Zenith or Genesis Waves, that will certainly power out enormous things to happen, either searching his library for another Soul of the Harvest or very large Genesis Wave.
The Blade Splicer token gets the party started.
So Kurt's going to fall to 22.
All the way to 22?
All the way
Oh,
down.
no!
There's another land for Kurt.
So this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. So every Genesis Wave is 7. Awesome at this point.
Yeah, exactly right. If he ever draws one, then he's just completely golden.
Daviduk a little flooded.
Yep, that Isolated Chapel now coming into play untapped. And now Kurt can, if he wants to, start attacking because these lands don't really, the further lands don't really matter. I still don't think he will.
In this case, it looks like he's going to try to go, he's hoping Daviduk will continue with the Golem Beats and blow him out with Restoration Angel.
Yep, that's right.
Take him to Value Village, do a little bargain shopping.
Yep. Well, he's got the Village Bell Ringer, so that is a problem.
So
Pairing
we're talking
up
about a 7/7 first strike at this point.
Yes, that is now a 7/7 first striker, so that's much more of a problem.
At least he can block with his Thragtusk and then blink.
Yep. That's probably what we're going to see happen. There's the block, and here's the blink. Getting a 3/3 and 5 more life in the process. Restoration Angel's so good. That card is just designed to be the best card in Standard while it's in Standard. I just think that card does so... First of all, it's a 4 toughness creature with flash and flying. The last one that did that, obviously, took over Standard for several years, Misspying Click. There's another Soul of the Harvest for Kurt. Yet another enormous body. He was saving a bunch of 1/1s in his hand for when he was able to get a Soul of the Harvest. So now he's able to use that mana to be able to Glimpse of Nature with this Arbor Elf. He has another one in his hand, it looks like. He may have drawn a Wolford Silverheart of his own, interestingly. That's a Green Sun Zenith and a Wolford Silverheart in his hand. So Kurt has a lot of action.
He's threatening Behemoth next turn.
Yes.
Now he doesn't, obviously Daviduk doesn't know, but Crane might finish him next turn.
Yeah, if he Green Suns for 8, then Daviduk's just done. Right? He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in play currently. He could play 2 more creatures and a Craterhoof Behemoth. Attack for just 1,000,000. Kurt is going to take the 7 here, I believe, go to 17 from the 7/7 Golem token.
The Behemoth really just gives your guys +X/+X?
Sure does. It's fairly ridiculous, right?
It doesn't even seem real.
It's a 5/5 haste, and when it comes into play, all your creatures get +1/+1 for each other creature you control.
How is
for each
that even
creature you
fair?
control. So it's not. That thing's just enormous. Let's see if he hits the table with the hoof. That's what I'm rooting for. And then do a little bit of the action when he casts it. I've been telling him to do it. I don't think he's been doing it, but... He's just going to Green Sun for 3, getting Eruzi.
No, he tapped the
he tapped the
Archdruid.
Archdruid. Here comes the hoof. Come on, hit the table, hit the table. Do it. Do it. There's the Craterhoof Behemoth.
Oh, the disgust.
Just toss it out there. How do you beat this card? +X/+X till end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. 4, 5, 6, 7,
doesn't
8,
even
9,
seem like
10,
a real
11.
card.
All your creatures get +11/+11 in trample. Craterhoof Behemoth itself has haste. That guy is quite a beast. How about you attack Brian and make him have the safe passage? Yep, doesn't have the safe passage, scoops him up.
Wow.
So,
Dude,
Green
how
Sun
is
Zenith for an 8-drop.
How is Craterhoof Behemoth a real card?
It's really not.
It's
just,
every time it's 100 damage.
It's, yes, every single time it's 100 damage.
Jeez.
100 is like on the low end of damage too.
Yes. Unbelievable.
Oh, he made the horsey noise. I'm so happy. Yeah. Very happy about that. So, Kurt Crane taking game 2 against Brian Daviduk. Both of these players with very unique, original decks. Skin Render out of Brian Daviduk, very underplayed.
Turbo Skin Render, the deck.
Turbo Skin Render with Restoration Angels. No Cloud Shifts, but Restoration Angel's good enough, I think.
Skin Render is a zombie, right?
He sure is.
Why don't zombie decks ever want that guy? They're not grindy enough decks?
The 4 drops that are in zombie decks are either Falconroth Aristocrat in the super aggro red-black zombies, or Phyrexian Obliterate. And so, because you're doing different things in a really super aggressive deck than you are in this deck. This deck prefers to be more grindy and would rather have a Flame Tongue copy than a thing that has significantly less value when getting Vapor Stain.
Does Godless Shrine mean we're going to see Restoration Angel and Duralf's Messenger fighting side by side?
Oh my goodness. I certainly...
Dude, I could picture that.
I could see that happening, absolutely. Bring a little bit of Dead Guy Ale to standard. Assuming there's a decent discard spell.
Sure, and as long as they reprint Sinkhole?
Sure, as long as they... Yes, that seems realistic.
Absolutely.
They could probably print...
They're probably going to do that at some point, right? Like, have the cycle, have, like, Sinkhole, Mana Drain, you know?
Wheel of Fortune.
Actually, what do you think they're going to reprint first, Counterspell or Mana Drain?
Which will they reprint first?
Yeah, Counterspell or Mana Drain?
In an actual set, or in
an
like
actual
from the vault?
In an actual set.
Which will they reprint first? I think it would be Counterspell.
I think it'll be Counterspell too. I think Mana Drain is a long. I think we're more likely to see a functionally similar Mana Drain, like Mana Drain for purple.
Right.
I think purple for Mana Drain is more realistic than
or
actual
Mana Drain for like 5 mana or something absurd like that.
Yeah, but I think in terms of just actual Mana Drain or actual Counterspell, I don't think. I think that we'll see Counterspell. You know what? Put me on. What time? What year is it? It's 2012.
2012.
Put me down in July of 2012. I said a decade. Within the decade, Counterspell will be reprinted.
Okay, so by Return to Ravnica comes out.
No. Return to Ravnica might be 7 years away. I'm talking 10 years from.
10
within
years.
the next 10 years, we're gonna have
10 years would
Counterspell
be-
in Standard at some point.
That would be like Return to Weatherlight. Maybe they'll go back. Whatever. Anyway, in whatever set is in 2022.
Yep.
By then.
By July 28. No, you know what? You better give me the fall one too. Yeah, by
All
the
right, I'll
fall
give you the
set
fall.
of 2024. No, 2022.
2022.
2022.
Actual Counterspell.
Actual
will be
Counterspell. Joey Pasco is gonna love this.
Yes, I'm sure he will. That guy has quite the affinity for blue.
Here's the question for you. What do you think will get reprinted first? I like it. Counterspell or Force of Will?
Force of Will, absolutely Force of Will.
You think Force of Will is coming
Yes.
first?
I think Force of Will is a realistic card to actually see reprint.
You don't think Counterspell is?
No. They
Mike
printed
Turian has been
Cancel like
fighting
8
to
times.
Counterspell in every set for the last 3 years.
Yeah, but he's only one man.
And he's
And
crazy.
he's Mike Turian, sure, and he's a crazy person. I think that, like, for Modern's sake, I think Force of Will would be really good to have in Modern.
You think Force of Will be really good for Modern?
Yes.
Wow. Force of Will seems like it would, like, you would not be able to put the genie back in the bottle. Like, if you
Right.
make Force of Will in Modern, doesn't that just,
Well,
like, everything's just different from now on,
The other
right?
thing that you can do, if you reprint Force of Will for Modern, is you can, the ban list for Modern's enormous anyway. Who's going to notice another drop in the well of, yep, we're going to ban Force of Will in Modern?
You know darn well you're not gonna ban Force
They'll
of
give it
Will
like-
in Modern.
They'll give it like 9 months to a
You're
year.
not gonna ban Force of Will in Modern. Come on.
I mean, I don't think so. I
Put
don't
your
think it's overpowered.
try to
listen.
imagine what it would be like to reprint Force of Will. Everybody gets to play with Force of Will, and then you say,
No more
"How would
Modern."
you like to keep playing Modern? Only now without these Force of Wills."
Right. I don't actually think Force of Will is that powerful in Modern.
Then
because
why would it be banned?
It wouldn't be. Is my point.
Right, well-
I'm saying you have the elimination switch if you need it. You have the kill switch to be like, all right, we made a mistake, shut her down.
If you're not
Phil.
gonna, if it's not in your
Shut her-
range to
shut her
swallow
down,
the poison
Hank, she's
pill, you
spewing
can't.
mud.
It's not. But all right.
You can do it. I'm just saying. It's
Sure,
possible
absolutely. I
that
would
this is
love
a thing
to imagine that we
do.
live in the world where that's possible.
I would love to have
And we'll
this.
ban Snapcaster Mage in Standard too. Why the hell not? Because there's no consequences.
So Kai Burnett, who's a player who's on 18 points, is playing a Venser the Sojourner deck that has Stonehorn Dignitary in it, that also has Deadeye Navigator. He's on the verge of making top 8. So if he wins this round, he'll be on 21. He'll be X-1. He'll be 7-1.
LSV picked it. The Deadeye Navigator. That was
Yep.
one of his picks to eventually have a day in the sun.
That card is very, very good and has an infinite combo in Standard. Well, not infinite. It has a arbitrarily large combo in Standard, if you so want to. But
If you're of the persuasion.
yeah, if you so want to have Gilded Lotuses in your deck, as well as Deceiver Exarchs or Zealous Conscript. But regardless of that, Venture the Sojourner, run by Kai Burnett, knocking on the door of top 8. So that's an exciting possibility. You can play anything you want in Standard right now.
Remember when Standard used to be you can play any Titan you want?
Yes.
The Titans are legal now, and
And no one's playing them.
they get a little bit, but they're just like everything else, you know? Like we've already seen Inferno Titan, Grave Titan, Frost Titan, Primeval Titan. We've seen 4 out of 5 of them today, but they're just showing up in supporting roles. They're not.
We haven't even
they're
seen
not as
Sun Titans
prominent
yet.
as they're not as prominent as like, you know, Restoration Angel
Right.
and Thrag Tusk.
Right. Well,
and-
these 5 drops come down a turn earlier. These 4 and 5 drops, I should say, come down a turn earlier, and so have an extra turn to hit. In addition, Restoration Angel, the Restoration Angel Blade Splicer interaction is just so powerful. So we're going to lead off with a isolated chapel for Brian Daviduk after he plays Bird of Paradise on his second turn. Kurt Crane played a bird on his first turn. And Elvish Archdruid
that
on
Bird
turn
of
2.
Paradise is just so important.
It's
He can
amazing.
actually start skin rending next turn.
Yeah. It's amazing how, towards the end of every Standard season, Bird of Paradise decks become the thing. At the beginning of Standard seasons, no one's really playing Bird of Paradise decks, but at the end, everyone's playing Bird of Paradise decks.
So Kurt, yeah, absolutely. Kurt drops the quick turn 2 Elvish Archdruid, but at this point, Daviduk's got to check, you got some skin? Let me rend that. You got a throat?
There it is.
Let me get that.
There's a skin
There's
render.
the skin render. This sucks.
So absurdly powerful.
Man, it sucks when you're trying to just sit there playing out all your birds and elves, and the other guy just takes all of their skin and wears it as a mask.
That's true.
This is like, all right, Elvish Visionary. That's a guy that's not going to get skin rendered.
Here's another Elvish Visionary. It would. Oh, nope, never mind. This is Birds
Arbor and Arbor Elf. So
interesting.
Kurt's putting up a significant amount of mana here.
Now he's got a Gavany Township in his hand.
Okay.
And he can use his Gavany Township significantly better than Brian can use his Gavany Township.
And he's got enough mana for Soul of the Harvest, right?
He does.
Even if one of these guys gets killed, he can play a land in a Soul of the Harvest.
Yep. He's got enough mana for Soul of the Harvest, Genesis Wave for 3, or Green Sun Zenith for Thragtusk, Elvish Archdruid. Well, there's a lot of mana guys for Brian also. Mana. This happens in Standard a lot recently, actually, where everyone just plays guys and just hopes for the best.
No wonder Bonfire's good.
Yeah, exactly. Bonfire is the thing that breaks parity if you're not playing flying creatures. And even then, you're playing 3-4 flying creatures, so you can't even break parity that way. Looks like another Visionary from Kurt Crane. If you're just joining us, my name is Ruben Bressler. I am here with Hall of Famer Patrick Chapin. And we are here at Star City Games Buffalo, SCGNY. And we are watching Kurt Crane on your right, playing with Green-White Elf Wave, playing 4 Genesis Waves in his with his Village Bellringers, Restoration Angels, and Elf package against Brian Daviduk's unique junk deck that has a full playset of 4 Skin Renders, 4 Blade Splicers to go along with his 4 Restoration Angels. Very interesting decks here on camera and around the room, as a matter of fact. 2 of the big names in the room, Gerard Fabiano and Reduke, were playing Wolf Run Blue, which is a deck that was not seeing a ton of play outside of a PTQ or 2. I think I saw Josh Rabbits won a PTQ with something similar, but other than that, I think that was...
it's been just a little under the radar.
It has been.
Vault of the Archangel now out of Daviduk. How does this change things? This is going to make Kurt attempting to use the Township as a backup plan not really as effective, right?
A re-trump, it looks like, although he tapped it to play a Blade Splicer, which is also very difficult for Kurt to deal with. Kurt just needs to play a larger creature.
Like a soul of the Harvest or a Genesis Wave eventually, right?
Yes. He can also get, I mean, if he draws the Wolf or a Silverheart, if he brought that in.
Are we going to see the Bell Ringer?
He has one in his hand.
Because he can still ring the bell and activate the Township.
Yes. He can tap the 3 creatures for the Bell Ringer and just put the Bell Ringer into play for free, basically. So end of turn, we're going to put counters.
Not to Bell Ring.
Not at end of turn, it looks like. So for now, we're going to put 1 die on the Gavany Township, it looks like, to signify the +1/+1 counters that would be on all of the creatures. However, that's going to quickly fall out of fashion once he plays any other guy. Brian has 2 of the Innistrad block activation lands, Gavany Township and Vault of the Archangel. He can choose to activate either one, but not both. And so it's an interesting choice for Brian, who I believe is also hellbent at this point. So we have a Restoration Angel for Kurt, among other things.
I mean, is his plan for the time being just kind of hang out, keep playing my land, and making my guys bigger?
Yes. And then Genesis Wave for 8 and put a Greater Hoof Behemoth in play and attack you for 100 million. Now, that's the plan again.
How's he going to stop the Blade Splicer Vault of the Archangel combo? Like, it's a first striking Death Touch creature.
That's true. He's just going to take 3 from it. I mean, if he doesn't activate the Township, he's just going to take 3 from it until he gets to such a point where he can Genesis Wave or Green Sun Zenith to go find the Greater Hoof Behemoth. And then that's it. That's game.
That's game, boys?
I mean, that's what he's hoping for. And if he doesn't find it, then he'll lose. But I think that Kurt is able to play the role of the green control deck that you sort of outlined in one of your articles, that you sort of said that you could sort of have a Thragtusk control deck. This isn't obviously anywhere near that. But Thragtusk lets him play as a little bit of a control player. You know, hide behind his 5/3 with infinite value attached. wait until his combo comes to him, let the game come to him. Although it appears as if Brian's not going to wait. So
Daviduk knows he's gotta get this show on the road.
Yes.
The longer he waits here, the sooner the closer Crane is to playing Soul of the Harvest or Genesis Wave.
He found that out last game for sure. Now, Brian is leaving up both Vault and Gavany Township, so the combat math is very difficult to try and figure out for Kurt to try and not lose a ton of value here. So he gets to untap the creatures that he just played. Kurt still can activate the Gavany Township. Very difficult block for him here. He is at 14, but he's going to be, if he, for example, if he makes no blocks, Brian would almost certainly activate the Gavany Township to deal 10, which would put Kurt at 4, which would be a very bad place for him to be. Of course.
Kurt deciding how to block, because most likely he's going to try the trick of Restoration Angeling the Bellringer after it blocks the Golem. But
yes.
But he's also deciding if he wants just to have the Angel in play to maybe eat one of the creatures.
Well, the problem is that
no,
the problem is that if he plays the Angel, he will not be able to activate the Township.
Yeah, no, because the Angel's the Bellringer.
Oh, the Angel's the Bellringer. Oh, so maybe he will. He might have just enough mana for that. You're right.
But why do that when you could save the Angel for the Visionary and draw a card?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
It's a very he's got a lot
complicated
of
board.
And Brian, can either trump with Death Touch or he can try and trump with being bigger, because it is only a 3/4. So if he activates the Township, either the Golem or the Skin Render become a 4/4. Same with the Bellringer's toughness. It's just a 4. He can pump it up to a 5. So I think Kurt is going to probably will declare blocks and say, all right, do you have anything to do?
And then it's pump it up,
Then he'll
Kurt.
force Brian to decide first. Before, Kurt's just going to go for it here. Blinking what? He's going to activate, which one? Which one are you activating, Brian? Going to activate Township. Township's the choice. So he's going to make a 4/4 first striker, some 2/2s, a 4/4. So I'm not sure if we're at damage step yet. It looks like Kurt's untapping, so it looks like we were at damage step. The good news for Kurt is he can continue to chump block if he needs to. There's a Thrag Tusk. That'll clog up the board yet even more. 1, 2, 3. He will not be able to activate the Township, though, unless he has another land in hand. If he has a land, I think he can, well, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, if he has a land in hand.
He doesn't have a land.
If he has a land in hand, then he can activate the Township. If he doesn't, then he's in trouble. Because he currently has 3 mana creatures in play and 6 lands. So he uses 5 of the lands. We'll have the 3 mana creatures in Gavany Township remaining. So Kurt's going to go to 13 here. And Kurt has a land, I believe. If he plays the land, then if he has a land, then he gets to activate this Township. Kurt deciding whether or not to attack for 1.
Dude.
There it is.
Sometimes you just got to bring the bird beats.
That's right. He's going to attack with... No, he's going to attack with both birds.
Okay.
Bring you down to 18.
I like it. Aggressive.
Very aggressive.
Seriously, just give him the business.
So here's all the flyers coming in.
Like, I realize you got 20 life. That's okay. Here's the business.
Yep. It's a 4-turn clock. If he can manage to hold off Brian, or if he can force Brian to not play any more spells.
The Vault of the Archangel, though, I think is
really going to be the main problem here.
But if you're not going to do anything with the creatures anyway, you might as well get in there.
He's just going to attack with the 2 birds, it looks like, and then pass. Man, this is quite the board state here. Both players...
Mike Turian would love this. Hall of Famer Mike Turian was famous for loving to create situations, both in constructed and limited, where the board just gets cluttered with so many cards that have multiple functions and activated abilities, and just make it impossible for the other person to keep track of what's going on.
Yep. And Brian has Vault of the Archangel and Gavany Township, which is absurd to have in any, like, you attack and have both those untapped with the mana attack. That's fairly absurd.
Legacy challenge, head judge.
I don't know if you know Mike Turian, but he is a fairly absurd human being.
That's a good point. Also, should Brian draw another land, he can then activate both of his lands in the same turn. So we're going to rumble in with a pair of 4/4s. Thragtusk is going to block Skin Render.
Sure.
And it looks like an Elvish Visionary is going under the tires of this Golem. So the Thragtusk and the Skin Render are going to trade. We're going to activate either Township or, looks like Vault is getting activated here. So it's going to be 4, so he's going to gain 8, go to 26.
So I wonder if maybe he shouldn't just activate the Township there.
I think he should probably have activated
Continue to
Township
just increase the size of his team.
Yeah, because eventually Kurt's going to grow his team up.
And what's a little life between friends?
Yeah, exactly. The difference of being at 26 and 18
That's a nice token.
Is not, yeah, it is a nice token. The difference between being at 26 and being at 18 against Kurt's deck that can attack for 200 is fairly middling, I think. I mean, Kurt can attack you like a normal creature deck, but that's not going to happen given the current board state. The way Kurt's winning this game is to start comboing off with Soul of the Harvest, which is what he just drew.
Ooh, that's pretty big.
That's a nice one. So yes, Soul of the Harvest and something else. There's the extra land. There he is. Once again, the large elemental 6/6 trampler. Some had been predicting that should Ramp continue to be an archetype come this fall with the loss of the Titans, the replacement would be Soul of the Harvest, and you would have obviously have a much different deck. But you'd still have a 6/6 trampler for 6 at the top of your deck.
And he does a lot of things. I mean, he draws you plenty of cards.
He does. And one of the wording things that's very interesting about Soul of Harvest is it's not when a creature comes into play under your control that you cast. It's just whenever one comes into play that isn't a token, period. So if you Green Sun Zenith, or you Genesis Wave, or Undying, for example, also does it. So that thing is a card advantage engine in a color that doesn't have a lot of those.
And green has been getting more recently, though. I mean, green has got to be like, is green the second best at drawing cards now?
After blue?
Yeah.
I gotta think black is still better at drawing cards with Sign in Blood, and no one's really playing Bloodgift Demon, but also Disciple of Bolas. There are lots of black cards that players aren't playing right now that I think are actually just better at drawing cards. Green, however, it's got Soul of the Harvest and Elvish Visionary.
I can't wait till Harmonize comes back.
Oh, jeez.
That was a card.
That was so good. Blue.
So Birthing Pod, Daviduk with Birthing Pod.
Yes.
Once again, his Birthing Pod seems amazing.
So he's going to go get a Skin Render almost certainly here. What other 4s?
Could he get a Restoration Angel?
He could get a Restoration Angel to blink the current Skin Render.
Just this way he has a flyer in the air to help block with, too.
Yes. The problem for Daviduk, though, is that even though this is quite a good engine he's got going, Kurt is threatening an even bigger engine on the other side of the board. As soon as he untaps, if he draws any spell in his deck, I'm looking to make sure. Yes, any spell in his deck, the engine starts going.
You are not kidding. His deck is just 4 Genesis Waves and 31 dudes.
And
Green Sun Zeniths.
And Green Sun Zeniths, yeah.
Yep. But the Green Sun Zenith just gets more dudes. Yeah, every single card in his deck gets dudes.
Yep.
Wow.
So all Kurt has to do
not hit a land.
Is not hit a land. And even if he hits a land, he's still not in that bad of a shape. He's in pretty bad shape if he hits a land.
He's going to lose his Soul of the Harvest next turn.
He is.
Isn't he? Or what does Daviduk have to finish the job?
Well, he's got a couple of 4s and a couple of 1s on the board for this birthing pod.
Yeah, but what can he go get?
He can't really get anything. He can get this Geisthonored Monk, I suppose. Wolf or Silverheart to pair up his flyer.
But nothing that straight up kills the Soul of the Harvest.
Correct.
Because all of his stuff is like Skin Render, Metamorph, Restoration Angel. It all costs 4.
Yep. So we're going to... What's coming in, Brian? Looks like the Golem is the one thing coming in right now. Nothing to activate with. Kurt's going to either... I didn't see if he chunked or if he took the damage. We're currently hearing the announcement for time in the round. However, we, as you can see on our round clock in the middle of the upper portion of the screen, we have a little over 5 or a little under 5 minutes.
So this is a bunch of mana.
This is a bunch of mana.
Is this a Drag Tusk?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Restoration
This is a Restoration Angel.
Wow.
So this is going to draw a card. It's also going to target...
Is it the Bell Ringer?
It's probably going to target Bell Ringer here. Oh, he drew a land. That's really unfortunate.
He gets to draw another card.
He does. So yeah, Restoration Angel gets to draw 2 cards when there's a Soul of the Harvest on the board. Hopefully this is... there's a land. It's a land roll. He can keep chaining them together. That's another creature of some sort. I didn't see which one. Looks like possibly an Elvish Archdruid. Yep, that's my guess. Once this Soul of Harvest starts going, it's just absurd. It's Glimpse of Nature. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. We hit 2 lands. Party's over.
The show is over. Say goodbye.
So he can still activate Gavany Township after casting all these spells.
Both of these players are going to have to get the show on the road, though, if they want this game to end in the next 3.5 minutes.
Well, Kurt is the one that has the bigger end game.
Because he can just kill in 1 hit
Because he can kill in 1 hit very easily. Brian has to sort of sacrifice a creature to go get a 5-drop, attack that creature, go get the Grave Titan, and start attacking the Grave Titan.
But the upside is that at least he's got Crane all the way down to 9 so far. Plus he's got this the Vault of the Archangel creating a huge board presence.
Yep. Kurt, however, can literally hit you for 100 damage out of almost nowhere, especially after he untaps next turn with this Archdruid.
Yeah.
If Kurt manages to find Izuri or Craterhoof Behemoth or Genesis Wave, then the game's almost certainly over in Kurt's favor.
So I gotta think that when you've had Soul of the Harvest in play for the last several turns and you've got 20 power already just chilling,
yeah,
I think it's not fair to call this out of nowhere anymore. Like this is
true.
somewhere.
It's not out of
where you are
is somewhere.
You are
but
harvesting.
Brandon is keeping him at bay.
Absolutely.
Like he may have this much mana, and this is another argument for Mortar Pod. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you have 40 mana and 20 guys.
Absolutely.
And you don't want to attack.
Absolutely. Brian has got to find a way to break through this because it's getting worse and worse for him every turn that the Soul of the Harvest is in play.
Yep. I feel like Kurt has a much better plan. I think he's probably studied that he probably figured out early on, we're going to run into these crazy board stalls. How are we going to break the parity of it? And that's where the Craterhoof Behemoth and the Izuri came in, as well as these Mortar Pods.
There's a Silverheart. So this is continuing even more so. But the thing is, does this even get through? I mean, even if he paired with Restoration Angel, he can't get through because of the multiple Restoration Angels
and multiple birds.
The Gavany Township.
And the Gavany Township, that's true.
I mean, it looks like Daviduk is already lost. If Crane can win in time.
Yes, if Crane can win in time. If Crane manages to draw at pretty much anything. Now, Brian is going to go get the Grave Titan. And that might tip the scales. Did he not? He sacked something.
He sacked the Skin Render, right?
I'm sorry. He sacked the Skin Render, I see. Or did he? Did he? Yes. Okay, so it's another Silverheart.
So now we got a real big angel, right?
No.
You can't.
You can only pair together with one other thing. This is probably a big angel and a big golem.
Big Bird of Paradise and Big Angel.
Ah, Big Bird. Coming in for a little party.
This seems ambitious without a Vault of the Archangel.
Yeah, this seems very ambitious. Brian is leaving himself open to a lot of things that could go wrong here.
What about just attack phase?
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I mean...
So Kurt blocks one of these, I feel.
If Kurt blocked with one and then counterattacked, isn't Daviduk dead?
Yes. So if he double blocks bird and kills the bird and keeps around one angel, takes 7, goes to 2, counterattacks, I think he just wins, right? Actually, that's
the golem
wrong.
and 2 silver hearts can block 3 things, but...
Right, but I'm sorry. That's
but there's
incorrect.
a township, too.
There's a township. The township's getting activated now, or soonish.
And then again next turn if he wants.
So he's actually going to block everything here. He's going to double block the opposing angel with 2 of his own, and block the bird with a bird.
The bird is the word.
That's what I've heard.
Absolutely.
Many dice on the table now.
Welcome to Fallen Empires.
Yep. This is pretty much a game of Warhammer 40k at this point with all the 6-sided dice. Man, Fallen Empires did have a lot of dice. I didn't even think about that. That's good.
Yeah. Unlike Arabian Nights, which was focused mostly on having a lot of chips.
Yes.
A lot of people wonder about that, but it's just because Richard Garfield had the...
Wow, that's a Green Sun Zenith.
Oh,
so
wow.
It
Is
looks
this just
like
Behemoth and this is
I
it?
think that this is Behemoth and this is it. I'm not sure though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hoof for 8, 9, 10. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Each creature gets +7/+7.
You got to show it to him.
Yeah. So he's going to hoof.
Right.
He's going to put hoof in. Oh, there goes the dice. He's going to put hoof into play. Each of those creatures are going to get +7/+7.
That's fair.
So 7 times
No, there's 8
5.
guys now, right?
No.
The Restoration
1, 2,
Angel?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're right. There is 8. So each of these are going to get +8/+8, in addition to the power they currently already have. So that's 64 plus the current power on the board, all of which is trampling, and that's going to be the game. Kurt Crane, able to Green Sun Zenith
in turns.
Exciting. With Elf Wave. Innovative Elf Wave, somewhat similar to a Travis Wu deck, but with a couple important innovations, most notably Village Bellringer.
I see. It's funny to me. Village Bell. I mean, to say that it's close to that, it's like, I mean, yeah, it's close to a Luis Scott Vargas deck too, right?
Well, sure, but
and it's close to an Alan Comer deck, right?
Right. Well, but the Travis Wu deck that he was playing, that he won something with on Magic Online like 2 weeks ago, that actually shared like 50 of the cards in the main deck. Was my point. But some of the things are very different. The Restoration Angels and Village Bellringers being the main. The main innovation.
T-Wu playing just mono green?
No, he was playing green-white, I think just for Gavany Township.
Wow, okay.
So that's what I believe. If I'm incorrect, you can correct me on Twitter.
The Restoration Angel Bellringer thing seems kind of an exciting way to make the Genesis waves go DI.
Yes, completely ridiculous. And so Kurt Crane moving to 7-1.
And it looks like he's probably not going to be able to draw, right?
Yeah.
Like he might be able to, but there's just so many people with the same record. He's probably going to have to play next round, but we might see an Elf Wave deck in the top 8 of this tournament.
That's very exciting. Yeah. So
what do you think that does to Standard? I mean, that's like the type of thing
I think it makes people play even more bonfires than they already do.
I mean, he does have he had safe passage as well. Both of those players had safe passage.
He did not have safe, did he?
No, just his
opponent. But he has Izuri, which is his out to bonfire, which is still fine because you've got so much mana that you can afford to tap one of your Elvish Archdruids to regenerate
nothing
everything.
To you.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a boss. It's nothing.
So, if you have enough mana, you just make them big enough that it doesn't even matter anymore. So, but I feel like if that deck takes off, that we will see more things along the lines of
stuff, though, right?
Yeah, they love. Oh, who doesn't love elves? Come on.
Let's see. Charles Gindy doesn't.
Oh.
No, he loves elves. Dude, I love elves. I like Elvish Visionary. Any card that says draw a card is all right in my book.
Yep, that's exactly right. Elvish Visionary, Striped Bears,
2 Coiling Oracle, Wood Elves,
Kavu,
practically draw
Climber.
Not as much of an elf, but I still love drawing.
We were drawing cards.
Sure.
Striped Bear is also not an elf.
Dude, let's cut straight to the chase then. Mole Drifter, man.
Yeah,
my favorite of the elves.
Of course.
Dude, why don't they make cards like that anymore?
What, common 3-for-1s in draft? sometimes those are just too good.
Dude, Hill Giant is a common 3-for-1. Like, if
Well,
they just block with 3 1/1s, or that white card,
3 power.
the M13 one makes 3 1/1s.
Yeah.
I guess
that's 3
1/1s
dudes. That's
3 dudes? Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
Seriously? 3 dudes?
But 3 1/1 vanilla guys is vastly different than 3 cards.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and agree with you.
Yeah, I thought you might.
How would you? What if I told you?
3 cards.
What if I
quite like
told you
Magic
you
Taker.
could draw instead of cards, instead of random cards, like instead of search your deck for a random card that was on top of it, you could get a 1/1 instead. That might be something you'd be interested in.
Depends on the 1/1.
I'm talking
If it's Clothing
straight,
Oracle,
no chase,
vanilla,
just 1/1.
Straight up 1/1. Yeah, I'd rather have the cards.
Yeah. All right.
I think most people would as well.
Alright, standard open
But
players.
that is the end of
Just
round
to let you know,
8.
panel results from
So we are
round
going to be
8.
heading into the ultimate round next round.
This is I always.
This is the penultimate.